Magic Jack. Magic Jack, what's good, bro? Rack Smiley. Taylor Bud, there he is. There he is. We're gonna wait like maybe 2, 3 minutes. What up, boy?
Yo,
Yo, you gotta let me know. Let me know if this connection is lacking, cause we can switch it up. You feel me? What
I
up?
think it's good, man.
All right. How's everything, man? How is everything? It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man. Everything is good. It's like 3:20 in the morning over here.
Really? Germany. Okay.
Yeah,
Yo, what's your sleep schedule been like?
I've been sleeping from like 4 to 8 or 4 to 9.
Four to
I
nine.
mean, that's the longest, yeah. 4 to 8 usually though.
Is there a science behind that?
I mean, the most creative hours is like 2 to 4, so I don't
Okay,
want to miss them.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember looking
yeah,
at like, Albert Einstein and like Tesla's sleeping pattern, and it'd be like 10 to 2 or like nine to 3 or something. But you went on the back half instead of the front half for what?
yeah,
Night life
yeah.
in
I mean,
Germany?
it's well, no, because practice is at night, so
Okay,
it's kind of I'm at the mercy of practice right now, I guess.
100%. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so I told everybody 9:25. What time is it? Uh, Yeah, we gonna wait like another minute or something and then get this shit going. But how's it been? How many games y'all had?
No, we had no games yet. The games don't start till like April 22nd.
Okay, you cut your hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I cut my ends.
Really? What? What? Why?
I just it was dead. So I had to cut them bitches, man. I mean it was just more of a mess, like, you know what I mean? I had to cut them bitches. Like I had to
Okay.
cut my ends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh. All right.
yeah.
All right. So Germany. What city? What city in Germany?
Bremerhaven. It's like near Hamburg.
Roby.
It's like I'm on the North Sea.
Okay. Yeah. So
It's
so anyways, let's get it cracking. Where's the Dow taking you today?
I gotta go to Hamburg, and I gotta go to Hamburg at like 8 a.m. to pick up the other American import, and then, well, I'm just going for the ride, and I'm gonna meet up with somebody else in Hamburg.
100%. 100%. 100%. I already know what that means.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I was just like, damn, I don't know, man. I know how this net shit go. I don't even want to say shit.
Yo, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ryan, you got your notepad out, bro. I feel you, man. Uh, yeah, for anybody listening who don't know, this is Taylor Bud T Bud. He got a lot of good books out there on Amazon, and his Facebook just be cracking. Like y'all thought I'd be wild on Facebook. This man really like everything everything I post, I really get from him in some way. What's up, Christian? So if you're not following him, follow him on Instagram. He's straight nuggets. You could scroll through his Jennifer, that's my wife for sure. You could scroll through his page on Instagram and just like even one night of like an hour just searching his page, you're gonna wake the fuck up on some shit. So Nick Fla, Nick Fla. So the brief. What's up? So yeah, man, just tell me like tell him how you got started in this whole journey, man. Cause for y'all who don't know, like this is the most woke motherfucker in the world. Hey Blake. This ain't Blake. Who's Blake? Who's she talking to? But um, yeah, bro. Raw. Oh, okay. Blake in here. Raw vegan. You raw vegan, right? You on the raw vegan shit? How long you been doing this?
That's the move. Yeah, I started letting go of things, because that's how I look at it, more so than like the titles. Like, just like letting go of the illusions of need, probably. It's been almost 10 years now. It'll be 10 years in like a couple months now. It'll be 10 years of letting things go, and at a rapid rate. I mean, I guess it's always a process of letting things go since the first breath, but it really sped up from 2008 onward.
Okay.
From
And,
Yeah,
and what made you
yeah.
start? What made you start just deciding to let things go?
Well, like, really just leaving like my whole family and driving across the country to California from New Jersey. Like it, on an emotional level, I let a lot of stuff go. So then and then changing environments, and then that I kind of shifted and rotated to a bunch of different people. The crowd of people changed. So then
Mm-hmm.
I got different perspectives, and California just brought a whole different perspective. Because I mean, I had my brother's best friend growing up, who's kind of like my best friend. He was vegetarian, and he was like one of the strongest dudes I knew. So by the time I was 18, that was already like a heavy influence on me. So like I'm pushing 28 now, is what I mean. Like it's like my 10th
Yeah.
year. So
Yeah.
yeah, like so at 18, I was already like on my vegetarian vibe. So by the time I got to California and I ran into like raw vegans and vegans, and I ran into like a 60-something-year-old woman, and her skin was just incredible, and she was raw, and she had like this patience and calm about her that like I just never saw in a person. So then I was like, yo, I need that right there. Yo. I need that.
Yeah.
That was really it for me.
So that started. I mean, you started at 18. You're now 28. I'm sure if you shaved off, I know for real, Terry, you gotta chill, yo. These girls loving you in here, bro. But if you started at you 28 now, and if you shave that beard and that hair, I'm sure you look like you still 18. You've been getting younger every year now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, when I was 18, I probably looked 30. You know what I mean? I had a beard since I was like 15, 16. So
For sure.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if people want to see my other. It's also like 3 in the morning and dark in here too. So,
For sure.
but I know
And
it. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
you play
I definitely look
professional
younger.
ball. You play professional football in Germany, starting quarterback. So like how like what do you eat on the day? Like a lot of people don't think that you can even move if you like if you're not eating that meat, that shit, that cheese, So like what is your Taylor's the goat? I'm just a little baby goat, that's right. But what do you eat?
Hilarious.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Man, it's easy to hold on to water weight, man. That's all that muscle is, really just water weight and keeping the blood or the light in the tissue and the muscles. It's not really difficult to keep it there. Like you gotta time up your eating, and if you want to slow your metabolism, eating slower digesting foods or whatever you have to do. But for me, man, it's really simple. Like for me to stay at probably usually about 90 kilos, about 210.
Yeah,
That's 6'5". It's not really difficult for me
yeah,
if I eat soaked nuts for my fats. Like that's what's going to be the most inflammatory food for me. Soaked nuts, or if I can't get my hands on those, then it will be avocado or something like that to stay inflamed, because it's just inflamed. It's the inflammation. It's not, for the swelling if you want to stay swollen, but really for athleticism, range of motion is going to be really determined by your hydration. You know what I mean? Like
hmm
whether it's carbohydration or whatever, it's really your hydration. That's how everything fires off. The brain is telling everything else to do its thing. So the brain has to be hydrated. It has to be oxygenated. So if the system isn't properly hydrated, it's really just everything else is just going to follow that. Like that's why I always say the first disease is dehydration. So
yeah,
it's you know it, it's really about how inflamed do you want to be for, like, I guess, intimidation factor. But other than that, like, less is always more. Yeah, as far as athletics go. I mean, unless you're like a sumo wrestler or something, I don't
hmm
see the point in holding on to that water weight, because
yeah.
water is just emotion. So
Okay.
you already you have to say to yourself, like, what am I lacking? And that you have to create a perception of lack, like I need something, and then that creates that weight mentally, and then it unfolds physically, and
Okay.
then you have the physical weight, and then that's your emotion or emotional energy. But if you're heavier and more brutally strong, then you're met with more brutal force.
Yeah.
So it's just like when you start to let go of things, and you get the hang of your telekinetic powers and your
Yeah.
telepathy, then you go through more psychic attack, because that's where your light is. If it's really about where you invest your light. But either way, you're going to be going through psychic attack, if you're swollen or not. So I'd rather invest more into telekinesis and changing the world that way, or my perspective of it, than trying to brutally force things, because I'm just going to be met with brutal force equal to what I'm giving out. So
Right, for sure, for sure. You said we gonna get to the. They asked about tantra and dreams and some other things. We gonna touch on all that. But you said if you eat the soaked nuts, soaked nuts and seeds, that's the main way to get inflammation. I don't know if a lot of people understood. Like you see muscle is just inflammation, correct?
yeah, because I mean, you're born with a natural height and a natural weight. So that's like your natural frame, that your skeleton is. Like the body is, it has a natural design. So if you want to stuff the body and make it swell, like if you take on more earth element, then you need to take on more water element to counter it, so that you can hold it or understand. Because it's coming down to that false sense of need. So then you're understanding some form of need or holding on to some form of need, and that's how you hold on to the water weight, and you keep all the light in your tissue instead of cycling it through your organs. And that's how you become swollen, or people say, big or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I had watched one of you. I had watched. Yeah, for those of you who just joined, this man got a crazy, crazy YouTube channel. Like, how many videos you got on YouTube?
Like 1100 or something
Eleven
crazy. It's
hundred
been like,
videos,
yeah,
and they range from like 1 minute to like 10 minutes. We got a video on there together. Where we did a little podcast. I drove.
yeah, we need to make more.
Yeah, we got to do more. I drove with Taylor from New Jersey or from Las Vegas to New Jersey, and we hit New York, and man, he broke so much shit down for me. So I stalk his videos. Yeah, I be doing the same shit. But yeah, go check him out on YouTube. He got straight nuggets. So for y'all who just joining, I had already been on my path of like remembering and then and cutting shit out like you said earlier. And when I met you, it was like divine time. I stumbled across one of your videos on the side, and I just was like, then I added you on Facebook. I've been in your DMs just like, yo, what about this, this, this? And you had answers for every question. So 100%. One video I had seen at the beginning was like, building muscle is a myth. You can't build muscle. Anybody who is in the gym with super swole, they swole. They swole. What is swelling? It's water and blood rushing to a centralized area wherever you want it to be. Whether you work out your biceps, you just you're ripping those muscle fibers, so then water and blood go there to heal it. And as long as you keep doing that, they're gonna stay inflamed. So that's how you keep your
Hi,
muscle.
Itzel joined. Itzel, what's up, Itzel? No,
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
listening. No, no,
yeah,
for
for
real. No,
sure,
it's
for sure.
mental.
I know how it
No,
is, bro. You
no,
got, you got.
it's a mental injury though.
It's
It's mental
mental injury.
injury. Yeah, mental injury, that you're holding on to a mental injury, and then it becomes a physical injury. So
Okay.
you have a mental sense of lack, and then it manifests as a physical sense of lack, and you're just controlling it, through
Mhm.
what people call working out.
Yeah.
You're ripping the muscles, and you're ripping the muscles and breaking the tissue, and then the blood rushes to that area, and then it gets trapped there because you stay in that cycle of thinking that you have lack, and then it just never stops, and then people stay swollen, and then the organs all get starved. So then, including the brain. So you just you just become a bag of pus, really.
Okay. This is too intimate.
Yeah.
She funny as hell. Uh, okay, for sure, for sure. So unless you're doing sports or like sumo wrestling, there's really no point of working out, or is it some point to put yourself into that, like what you call it, an induced fever?
Yeah, well, yeah, as far as like working out, exorcism, like we were just saying, working out is really exorcising. It's a self-induced fever to work something out. And other than that, you really don't need to do it. If you sat down and did conscious breathing for a half hour, you're gonna start sweating, and your body's gonna heat up and start to burn off the toxins. You don't have to move around for that, because if you consciously breathe like that from the diaphragm, then your blood is going to it's going to flow through the body at such a better rate, and then you just heat up, and then all the organs start to work properly.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I mean, like, if you breathing properly and then you just move about and stretch, I mean, honestly, there just shouldn't be any borders on the earth. So we should just be walking for our whole lives, just constantly moving and then meditating and moving and meditating and moving. There shouldn't be any of this of these borders or illusions of separation. So
Yeah.
that's the main issue, is that we can't just walk wherever we want to walk at this current time.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, right.
so you're gonna have to deal with the compensation thing,
Mhm.
because you're gonna be emotionally constipated, then become physically constipated, and then you have to compensate. You have to constantly work out, and then you just stay in that cycle. So because of you're in this mental cell and physical cell that is society. So if that wasn't there, then you could just walk the earth for until you're done,
Right.
and
For
at
sure.
your own pace. But you
Yeah.
can't right now.
Okay. So yeah, yeah, that makes sense because we kind of in the zoo, no?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my man Ryan, my man's Ryan, he follows you too. Yeah, Ryan asked about what about running, and I seen you posted a status about this the other day. How like somebody asked, what about jogging or running hills and something like that, and you're kind of like you'd have to be crazy. I'd just rather walk or something. What did you say?
Yeah, I mean, if it was in a perfect world, I'd rather walk or swim, or as far as like cardio, right? We're talking about like cardio or something. Is that
Yeah,
what you mean? Like to
yeah.
get better cardio?
I mean, no, well,
Yeah, I'd rather.
Ryan loves to run. Like how people be like, I was a natural born runner. Like they just love running places and doing. So like, is that senile or what is it?
I mean, generally, running stems from running from something. At an emotional level, it's like you just, if you can't, if you really feel a need to run, it's what it's stemming from, man. I don't want to be like negative to people, but
Yeah.
everybody's in their own compensation situation. So I
Okay.
know, I'm not trying to say anything's better or worse, but like that's what it's really stemming from, is running. Because I mean, I don't know. For me, if just think about that. If you could just walk the earth
Yeah.
with no boundary and
Yeah.
just continually just walk the earth and see everything, like, why would you run?
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, you could run from time to time to do it, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know any runner that runs without measuring what they're running. I don't know anybody that just runs and just runs, like
Yeah.
like on some Forrest Gump shit.
Forrest Gump shit for sure. For
Like,
sure.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, if you're
Yeah.
doing that, then okay. But
Yeah.
I feel like they all have like timing and measurement of distance in mind, and that's just a killer.
Okay. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Okay. So that could lead into Ryan heavy about the hips. Another video you had on YouTube. You were talking about if you have tight hips, it has to do with the relationship with your mother and your father. So which one is mother and
Mm,
father, and how does that even correlate?
yeah, left hip's mom, right hip is father. I mean, some people say that the hips just store all your energy in general, but the hips correlate because it's like your loins. It's like hips brought you into this world, or sex did. So
They
the
said, look
left
at the
hip.
halo on my man Taylor's head. All right,
No, but no, like,
keep
yeah,
cooking.
hips brought you into the world. Sex brought you into the world. So, and your parents were the conduits of that. So, left one is mom, right one is dad, or female and male principles. So
Yeah.
then it's gonna show up as mom and father relationship in a physical sense.
Okay. So as you
Because
loosen those up, does your relationship with your mother and father grow, or does it like heal, or what?
yeah, I mean, everything changed. It's really internal. It's always internal, and then it unfolds outwardly. Like, you get in touch with the fatherly facets of you and the motherly facets of you, and it's all generated from emotion. Like, when your parents when your parents were, I guess, when they spotted each other, however you want to look at it, like, the energy that brought them together and the energy that fueled them to have sex is the energy that is your body. So it's coming through that core from their hips anyway. So that's like the correlation between mother and father and emotion, because the body is pretty much water, and water is emotion. So it's like we're emotional creatures, or what, sexual creatures, however you want to look at it.
For sure, for sure. America, do you have tight hips, America, or at least a tight right hip maybe? But yeah. Um Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. You come from the core, and if yeah. What about how you feel about dreams? What are dreams like? I know you on such a light body like diet and everything. You've been doing this meditation shit for a while. So like, what are your dreams consistent of, and like, what do they mean to you?
Yeah, dreams are just usually a place to vent everything that a place to communicate the things that I'm not paying attention to in supposed waking life, and then a place to vent all the lust that I have that I desire in the supposed waking life. Like if because dream comes from the word dram or trauma, because our English language comes from a mix of German and Latin, so it's or Deutsch and Latin, whatever you want to call it. So dram is the root word of dream, so, or drama, traum.
Hmm.
So dreams in a sense are pretty much when you go inside different facets of your body and have to face the traumas that you're subjecting your own body to. Like there's little minute traumas that you have to go through, and so you have to experience those cells going through it. So since the body is cells and then everything around us is pretty much cells and all the people around us are like cells of the overall human body, when you're going into dreams, you're going into just different parts of you and communicating with yourself about the traumas that you're subjecting yourself to. Like whether it's like anything, holding on to emotion or, smoking or drinking or eating something that is inflammatory. Like there's the parts of you that are trying to express to themselves. So since you are not, since your breathing is behind and not up to par to where the blood is flowing in a way where it's not blocked. If the blood is flowing properly and you're breathing properly, you won't need to sleep as much anyway. So the more you do that, the less you need to sleep. And then as you as you as you like as you stop sleeping and you have this time that's supposed to idle time, then you just express more, and then you're in more of an alignment with
Hmm.
the universal creation, the universal source, or
Yeah.
whatever, the will, universal will. So there's really no need to sleep because the communication between you and you is there. It's no
Mhm.
separation. So the dream and the waking state dissolve into one state, and then there's no there's no need to go unconscious to catch up on breathing and to detox because you're already on top of that. You're already on top of your breathing. Like when you fall below your breathing, then you just fall to the yin and yang and the night and day and asleep and awake, and
Hmm.
then you start to lose what being alive and dead is, and then it's just a mess.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I don't even know where to go from that. That's a lot. Do you see him in like dealing with the past and the present and the future, or is it more usually about one?
It's you could look at it like in a physical sense, like your back is your past and the front is the future, and you just in between that at all times. But there's really no separating past and future because the way things cycle, how things are just cyclical, and in the animated sense, in all senses, it's pretty much a cyclical thing going on here. And I don't really know if you can separate past and future. I know that's where the deja vus can come from. Is you can look at it like it's one highway of souls, and you're going down or up at some point, and a deja vu might be you coming to the same point from the other side of the street, pretty much. So you could call it the past and the future. You could call it the past and the future, but it's like everything is holding, every memory and every experience ever is holding its place in eternity for continuity, so that the next experience can exist next to it, and they all just exist, and the awareness is just flowing through the never-ending experiences that are like pretty much held in time
Yeah.
or yeah, however you want to look at it, time or space. You can't separate them shits.
Okay, for sure, for sure. Damn. Yeah, we could talk about dreams for a minute. I feel like, or at least you could. I could listen for a minute. What do you what is I remember we were driving from Vegas to Jersey, and and you started teaching me because you know my eating was crazy, bro. Like You've been told me, man. I've never really seen nobody who really eats like you, man. Like, and that, yeah, that's besides the point. But I'm like, yo, help me fix that. And you started teaching me how to breathe. So like Jalen and Ryan in America, they asked like how you would breathe. I remember you told me in the car, and I was doing that for like 4 hours while I was driving. I was just focusing on it, and like the next day was like, yeah, man, it was crazy. But like, tell them how you would at least start getting the breath back, and yeah, connecting with your breath.
You gotta practice
Wait, what,
holding it.
Tara? Damn, she always got something to say. You got to keep up.
No,
But yeah, keep going.
yeah, no. You gotta practice holding it. Just stop and fully exhale, and then just hold that exhale for as long as you can, and then try to empty the lungs as much as you can, so that when you fully breathe again, you can feel the difference, and you want to expand the diaphragm or the belly, so that you can start to feel the difference between empty and full, or however you want to look at that. So basically, the breathing is really, it's tough. It's just funny. It's because you're not. I know a lot of people think that they're sucking in, but you're really pushing your lungs out, and then the atmosphere of the world changes, and then so you are changing the air within and around you. So that shifts all the thoughts in the world, and it shifts all the air in the world. So then other people's thoughts shift, and everything, the telepathy changes with if you breathe properly. So the more you do it, the more you breathe properly, then the more your everything becomes apparent, because as you breathe from the diaphragm, then all the organs get massaged, and everything just starts talking like it should. Everything, you start to hear everything more and more, and the breath is just, if you look at babies, that's how they breathe, man. They breathe from the diaphragm, and that's just the reset button. So the more that you exhale and fully empty the lungs out, then you can see the difference in empty and full, and then you can see just how much blockage you have with the on top of the lungs, what's
Yeah.
really sitting on top of these lungs.
Mm.
Because yeah, the breath is paramount, really, because that's how you cycle the blood around. The blood is sitting there at the bottom of the lungs. So especially if you're not doing yoga and not moving around, then all your blood is at the bottom of your lungs. So if you're breathing shallow, then your circulation is just shot. So then the shallow thoughts create shallow life. I mean, shallow breath makes shallow thoughts, and then shallow life manifests. So it's,
Damn.
yeah,
Okay, okay, yeah. So in a sense, like your breaths control like the reality, but like people who are always eating and expanding their stomach, it makes their lungs smaller, so they have less control over their reality. Correct?
yeah. It's just so much more pressure. It's just pressure on top of the lungs, and then they can't expand, and then your whole spiritual development doesn't expand. Nothing expands if the lungs can't expand. So it's like
Mm.
it's all about the expansion or expansion, whatever. So it if the lungs are, because if you look at the elements, that's where we're going from ether to air to fire to water and then earth. So it's setting everything else up. Everything else is following that. It's the base, really. Or I guess we could say the base for now, until people realize that we don't even need air.
Mm.
But that's a crazy. I'm not. I mean, I'm just gonna sound crazy for that.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably a little out there for most people listening, bro.
Yeah.
We gotta meet them where they at.
Uh,
Even
yeah,
me,
yeah, I
bro.
know, I know.
You talking that
They
shit?
seen yeah, I know. They seen the Matrix, though. You know what I mean? Like when Morpheus was like, "Is that air you're breathing, Neo?" Like, because nobody really breathes in their dreams or thinks about breathing in their dreams.
Damn.
That's because you are awareness. You know what I mean? You're not your body, and you live off of chi, and it's it's just it's just part of the yin and yang thing. The further you go up, or the more you get rid of, and the more you live with less, then you just have a greater perspective. So then you need less and less breaths per minute, then less and less breaths per hour. It just keeps going, less and less breaths per day, then per
Yeah.
year. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, then you get to a point where, you need less, and then you're just living off of chi.
Mm-hmm.
And and then your breaths are just so powerful that when you do breathe, you know, you create a hurricane. I mean, I don't know however you want to look at it. I know
Yeah.
people don't think they're walking around. It's immortals walking the earth right now. They just, you know,
Really?
they don't have yeah, they
Yeah,
don't
I
have
feel
birth
you.
certificates.
Right. Right. And they don't have shit to prove neither. So like, why would they say
Yeah,
anything? Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed when I fast, like say I break a fast on day 5, my breath will just be like crazy. I'll be able to just like for like, and that was like probably like 2 seconds, but I'll be able to do that for like 6, 7 seconds and keep it coming, and then blow out for like hella seconds, or just push out because there's no such thing as a suck.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anytime I take that first bite of food or like whatever I'm eating, all of a sudden my breath is like, oh shit, it goes from like this to like this. I'm like, damn. And why is it that people want to feel that pressure? Is that like, is it going down to hell and like so you can like feel alive again, or like what is the
Well,
satisfaction with
well,
that?
people are people are empty, and they feel like empty is a problem because you know it just comes down to what people identify with. So they're not used to a life. It's much more easy to fill a smaller cup. So as the organs shrink, and then you can, and if you are if you're empty, then you're easily fulfilled. But people are not okay with being empty. So
Hmm.
when you when you fast and everything, and you clear the colon, and you're clearing all the other organs of the garbage, then and the swelling goes down, and you can fully expand the lungs, and then you just get more out of each breath, because it's more about metabolizing the breath. Like people are not locking the breath in too. So you expand in the diaphragm, and then you lock with your tongue at the roof of your mouth, and you lock with your sphincter to metabolize the breath fully. It's just like it's just better fuel economy. It's just like if you have an exhaust leak in your car,
Hmm.
if you're not locking the breaths, it's just like a leakage every time you breathe, and then you're not capitalizing on the energy like you could, and so it's
Yeah.
what people will call a waste. It's not really a waste. It's just that energy is going to be used around you instead of come
Yeah.
from flowing from in you and be part of your momentum.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you go over many heads, they said. So like yeah, for sure, man. Uh I want to talk about Tantra. Yesterday I was at a podcast with Joel. I have to introduce y'all. He's not on here right now, but he's the one who really like started this. He's the one who really got me going, like, on all this shit. And then I met you like a couple years down the road. So he asked me like what caused me to start sharing, because for a while I wouldn't even post nothing. I wasn't doing anything until we had the similar views in Egypt. And when I went to Egypt, the whole thing that led to like all my traveling last year, I had never left the country, and last year I hit I think like 11 countries. And in November of 16, I said I was gonna stop letting my seed go, and I was gonna like transmute that energy, whether it be 33 steps in Jacob's ladder, 33 years in Jesus' life, 33 spines in the vertebrae. But I was gonna bring that energy back up to my pineal that they talk about, that esoteric knowledge. And I thought this was big secrets, And one day I was talking to you, and when I was in Egypt too, I was asking them dudes like, yo, where the shorties at? Like, what's the deal with the shorties? And they look at you like you're crazy, And I'm like, yeah, what's the problem? And they're like, oh, we're celibate. And I'm like, these are some 24, 25-year-old men. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I was celibate till I was like 21 too. Like, at least we could, play around, do some oral. I was in a different state back then, but like, at least mess with them. And he's like, nah, we don't even let the seed go. We're taught in school that rock leaches minerals from the joints, that's detrimental to the overall health. And I'm like, so that's when I really started sharing. Where I'm like, okay, motherfuckers in America don't know this common knowledge that everybody else around the world knows. I mean, all my guys are like running around like a chicken with their head cut off every night trying to let that seed go. So like, how you feel
Yeah.
about Tantra, and how you feel about men and letting the seed go in general?
I mean, ejaculation is like the French say, man, is petite mort. It's a little death. So it's spiritual decapitation, man. It really is. Like it, you should not be letting the seed go unless you are at a point where you can't attain literal immortality. So you have to go and just accept vicarious immortality. You have to go with vicarious immortality and have a kid. So it's for vicarious immortality. That's all the seed is for, really. Like if you don't feel like in this lifetime you can evolve to the state of immortality, then you ejaculate and have a child. Other than that, you should not ejaculate. You should have tantric sex, control your breathing, clear your rectum, and take herbs that will heal your prostate, because anybody that's been ejaculating, their prostate is burnt.
Mm-hmm.
So they need they need the saw palmetto and the pygeum
Yeah.
and things like of that nature to help with that prostate, because that thing is just a loose cannon. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's so much blood lost, man. Like I feel like this is really the foundation of what all that is wrong in the world, is that people are really they're trying to kill themselves. That's what it really is. It's little debt. You're really tossing your future and your past into the wind. Like no farmer is throwing its seed around like that.
Right.
So if you're not being exact with your seed and the power of seeds and what seeds can do at all levels, from metaphysical to physical, then you're just gonna have a barren earth, a barren wasteland, barren experience. You won't yield fruits in your life. So it's the seeds are paramount for your energy, because everything in the physical realm is based in sexual energy anyway. So you can't toss that around, man.
Right.
Tantra is strictly is what we is really the only answer for this thing, really, because I know people. I'm not telling people to be celibate. You can still enjoy all the pleasures of sex with tantra or tantra, however you want to call it. But you lose so much blood trying to regenerate sperm when you release the sperm, and then it's a cycle for regeneration. So, say you ejaculate, then each ejaculation gets smaller and smaller until because some people never regenerate. Some people, their their cycle is so short that they continually spill seed and just constantly get milked themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So your ejaculation stays small and smaller and smaller and smaller. But if people was to afford themselves the experience of holding the seed, clearing their rectum, properly breathing, diaphragmatic breath sessions, then they would experience totally different thoughts. And then they would know the difference from before I ejaculate and after, and how this manifests two totally different lives, because the thoughts that come with the sides of those coins are totally different. Like there's no way you can manifest the same health and immunity when you're ejaculating like that. You're just tossing everything into the wind. It's everything. It really is everything. It's like, because you could say it's you because you're your own ancestor, however you want to look at it, but you're really just tossing everything into the wind for no reason, like just for a brief moment of pleasure. It's the same thing as people eating foods that give them a brief moment of pleasure, and then they torch all their organs for that brief moment of pleasure. It doesn't add up. It's terrible math, and it's just you creating a hierarchy in the body that is just that's what creates the external hierarchies and the slavery of the world, is that you're valuing your tongue over your organs, or valuing your, I don't even know what to call that, man, because it's really not even valuing the testes or nothing, because all that is becoming weakened.
Yeah.
Because you're just burning it out, and it's massive mineral loss, because it's so much alkalinity lost, and then you need to breathe so much more to catch back up, to regenerate that blood, to where you can regenerate that sperm, and then you're at a point maybe where you can think straight again. But some people never even get there, man. So then they just stay in the process of regeneration, and then releasing, and then eating, and then having death sleeps, and then not remembering the dreams, and then just waking up tired because they was getting raped on all levels. And it's just has everything to do with releasing the seed. And then women women that accept that lustful energy are accepting like corrosive suicidal energy, because that's what it is.
Damn.
The dude's killing it. The dude's killing himself. So she's receiving suicide. So that
She's
is what
taking
she,
all that energy on.
yeah, she's accepting that. She's accepting a suicidal energy. So as that happens, you know, she's that's the energy that's coming through her. That's what she's going to attract in her life, and that's what she's going to continue to do. And then you pretty much just eat each other until there's nothing left, man. And
Hmm.
then women live like 5 years longer,
Yeah.
you know, because they've been eating the dude the whole time. And
Hmm.
then something's eating her because it's using her to eat him. So it's like a whole process of like the vamp ramp, pretty much, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So how you feel about like I I was celibate for like a while, say like till I was in my 20s, after college and shit. We gonna get to all these questions. But certain women, if and I bet you've gone through this too. Certain women, when you're doing that tantra thing, they start to get mad if you don't give them the seed. Does that happen to you as
Yes,
well?
especially if you gave it to him ever before. I mean, it's
Okay.
not so bad if you it's not so bad if you never gave it to him. But if you give them the blood, then you just make them super addicted to it, because yeah, it's pure energy, man. You think about sacrificing virgins, man. Sacrificing seeds is even more pure.
Mm, mm. Okay, yeah.
So
I had this
yeah,
friend. I had this friend. No, go ahead.
it's
Go
the
ahead.
nectar of creation, basically. And if she's getting that, she's extracting that, and she's getting the high off of that,
Hmm.
then when you take that away, it's just like anything,
Yeah, for
you
sure,
know,
for sure.
any
Take
drug.
anything away. Yeah, yeah. I had
Yeah.
this friend in high school, and ever since, like, a lot of people in here know, I won't say no names. A lot of people know who I'm talking about. But ever since elementary school, this man was supposed to be like NFL, NBA, MLB, whatever he wanted to do. He started having sex in like sixth grade, and he was fucking on the same girl until like senior year of high school, and every every year he would come down with some crazy energy. I mean, with some crazy injury, And that girl, her senior year, she was like kind of like strong for a white girl, She was like looking like a little mini Serena Williams type shit. I'm like, it just hit me like, maybe 3 months ago, like the reason bro ass was always injured is because he was giving his seed out, like his blood. You said in one of the videos, like every time you ejaculate, you lose.
A pint
Yeah,
of
you,
blood.
you know what I'm talking about, leader mine. You know what I'm talking about, Danny. Every time you ejaculate, you
Yeah,
lose like a pint of blood or something,
a
and that's a
pint.
lot to make back
Yeah,
up.
yeah. It takes a pint to regenerate the sperm.
Okay, yes, man, and he was really gonna go places, but he uh, even in college, he started just getting injured every time. He's like, bro, he would ask me like, why can't I stay healthy? Why is God doing this to me? And he didn't realize like, bro, you is God and you doing this to yourself. But we not taught
Yeah,
that in America, that shit leaches zinc and phosphorus and magnesium and so many minerals from the bones. Like everything costs blood. Every time you eat something, something's got to go out. So every time you eat something, you got to use blood to digest it. Every time you get an erection, you have to lose your sacred blood, your life force, to get that erection up. So now you see yourself running on the field later, and you was just fucking last night. Well, you don't have as much blood in your ankles to make that move that you could make yesterday. So you're gonna try and make that move, and your shit gonna twist. It
yeah,
just fits, right?
exactly. I mean,
Okay.
it's just yeah. So you move the blood from the organs and brain and keep it in your tissue for staying swollen, and then you move the blood into the prostate,
Yeah.
or your prostate and your penis or whatever, so that you can have continual sex. So then if people have parasites, it's like you're pooling the blood in different places. So if the blood's not in the brain, you're not thinking correctly. If the blood's not in your liver, it's not processing food
Yeah.
correctly. If it's not in your colon, it's not eliminating food correctly. So then it, your blood is allocated to these other places. So then
Yeah.
the parasites can thrive. Where so if you eat a bunch of food and then you have sex, then your blood it can't do both. It's not gonna be concentrated like it would. So
Mm-hmm.
you basically you're leaving all that food up for grabs for the parasite. So the parasite is like, okay, we got all this food coming in. Let's shift the blood to the penis and the prostate so that we can eat this food before he gets a chance to get any of it. And so then you have a bunch of parasite shit inside of you because parasites shit inside of you. So then that's pretty much what people are going through. Then they have all this toxins in them because they have colonies of parasites pretty much leaving landfills in their body. And then the parasites themselves eat blood too. So if they're all over the system, then they could be eating the prostate, they could be eating the brain, they could be eating anything. They don't stop. There's no fucking boundary. There's no like line where they're like, oh, I can't go here. They go anywhere in the body once they get in.
Okay, I just want to say a shout out to Joe. Say It Whispering just joined. He was the one I was mentioning earlier about my whole transition. He really started me. You was like the one I went to once he had gone out of state and stuff, and we just reconnected and we've been doing some podcasts. But yeah, Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill talks about that, and if you can transmute that sexual energy, it was so crazy to me because the month I gave it of all ejaculation was like, I said I was going to stop in November 16, and I stopped throughout. I was weaning off of it. I was weaning off, and I even would hit you up in like January. I'm like, bro, why is this happening? Like, succubus is attacking me. He's like, bro, the longer you go, the harder, but the easier it gets, So like, you told me some herbs to take and stuff like that. But Napoleon Hill mentions it, how you can transmute that energy, because really the actual ejaculation is just dense energy. So if you manifest that girl and you manifest having sex with her, you could have created something else with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's just the thought coming to the 3D. But Napoleon Hill, Nikola Tesla, Muhammad Ali's trainer said Muhammad Ali would be the greatest boxer in the world because he's never met somebody who had full control of their sexual energy at that age. Mike Tyson said he stopped having sex for 5 years when he was in his prime. So like the sexual energy in that shit is not. And
as soon as he started fucking, his career went terrible.
How do I get my virginity back? You funny as hell. I thought you was a virgin, sis. Anyways, yeah, we're not talking about that, but started doing that about 3 years ago. Changed. So yeah, and then I was creating all these things in my head, and all of a sudden I hit 12 countries, and it was like I've never even been out the country. I stopped having sex, and it's like, damn, I'm doing all this stuff on my life path that I'm supposed to be doing. Was it because I stopped letting the sea go? And look at Danny, like leader_mind. I mean, his life is a speaking testament to that shit himself. I never even knew he was on it. You careful who you share that shit with, because like people look at you like, wait, you don't have sex, you don't come, like, girls be like, but it's some real shit. But it is a poll, cause so like me and Joel were talking about it yesterday. Say It Whispering. Follow him as well at Say It Whispering. He got nuggets and great music. He's doing some crazy shit. And like, it's Egypt and the men out there are like a -1 or like way far left, and like America's way far right, where they want to let their shit go, and the Egyptians want to like are just afraid of the sex. Is there like what is the zero, like Tantra and like appreciating the beauty in sex and using the love, the lust energy, or like how would you do it?
I mean, from my time in Egypt, they want to have sex. A lot of them want to have sex, and they're just not.
They suppress it.
Yeah, it's a lot of suppression, but it shouldn't be any resistance. You shouldn't be resistant. Like, to fully enjoy sex, you would need to clean your body anyway. So that's the thing, is that most people, they're not even clean enough to have sex, really. So like, some people that don't have sex drives or any problems with sexual lust or whatever, a lot of that just has to do with the body not being in a position to even have that vigor to have the proper sex anyway, to even get the proper temptation. Because and like you said though, like it is unconscious manifestation, because you're having shallow breaths. So if you're more conscious of your breath throughout the day, then you'd have more control over your thoughts, because controlling the breath is controlling the thoughts. So if your breath is shallow, then you're going to invite thoughts that are unconscious, and then you just invite people into your life unconsciously. So,
sure.
but if you clean the body and you control your breathing, then you're more in alignment with the universal will. So then there's no mistakes. There's no fucking coincidence. You're not calling shit synchronicity. It's just clear to you. You just observing the path intensely, and you can cleanse the inner vision to where, yeah, I guess what you call the future, all that is shown to you because it's all happening. It's just like when, I don't know if it's happened to you, but if certain things happen in your life where you have certain ideas of things and then it shows up in popular culture and music and things like that, because it's the reactionary plane to that. So if it's happening there already in your thoughts, then you can bet that it's going to unfold and manifest on the 3D. So it's, yeah, but people aren't clear about the thoughts because the thoughts, you're receiving them. The body's an antenna. People think that they're thinking, but they're just listening. So, and most people really aren't listening. So if the body was really clean and you could hear all the organs and you could really receive what life was telling you or what you're telling yourself, then there would be no discrepancy. There would be no blindsided life. Not to say that you would know things, like know things in an absolute way, but anything coming down the pipe, you would. It's already coming down the pipe. It's been coming down the pipe for eternity. Like these things have already been happening. Like, so because you're really unworking things. You're unlearning, unbecoming, unworking, and going back up in a sense. Like you're going back the way you came. So because the path into the light seems dark or whatever, and the path forward seems to go back and all that stuff because you're going. There's nowhere that you're going that you haven't been. So it's all you're basically just. I don't want to say going in reverse, but it's the paradox. That's why it's hard to even explain this. It's just the paradox of forward being back, and you see it coming because you saw it coming before. It's just the ingredients shift. It's just the ingredients shift. Like the same room, but you rearrange the couches and all
that. Okay, yeah, for sure. I feel you. Somebody asked, what are your thoughts on people who get a vasectomy? If y'all have any questions, go ahead and ask. But yeah, we're gonna keep going wherever the dial takes us, right? 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, no other animal is doing that to itself.
No other animal is doing that to itself.
I don't know. Like, you really can't control yourself to where you want to like force it. Like that's the force thing, man. Like it shouldn't be something that you have to resist. Like, if you have to resist it, you're already lost in a sense. So you might as well if you're already in a state of resisting, you're already screwed. So you gotta start. You just have to observe when you're in a state of resistance. You really kind of have to let it go and watch the cycle intensely until you learn it and pay attention to the cycle and just really go through all the shit that you do that poisons you and kills you and just watch it fully. Most people just won't fully watch it though. So if you just pay attention to it, then you can change it because you're just changing your perspective, and then that's how things change. Like the body just reacts to the perspective. The body. It's all. If you're in alignment with the universal will, the body is moving at will. It's moving with the universal will, so it's all effortless. So as you pay attention and change your perspective on things, then you don't have to try to do nothing. The body just reacts to the perspective that you're now looking from. So it's really just about changing your perspective of the cycle that you have and then gradually changing your viewpoint of it and different things, different thoughts or whatever. Just change your view of those things and the way you talk to yourself it's not that the way you talk to yourself will change, but the way you view the thoughts that you hear or receive.
Thoughts, yeah. Thoughts create energy and emotion. Emotion is energy and motion. So like it all stems from the thought, but then it stems from the breath because the breath creates the thought. Shallow breath equals shallow thoughts. So it's all back to the breath always, huh?
Yeah, I mean you could call the emotion just dense thought.
Dense thought.
Like water is dense air, a dense atmosphere. So emotion is just like dense thought, and then air is just like a dense ether or dense nothing. So I don't know if you want to look at it. It's the paradox makes it hard to communicate, but it's it's no separation. It's just like how hell is just dense heaven.
Mm. And is that within? What are your takes on that? We got some funny
Everything
ass. We
else.
got some funny. We got some funny motherfuckers on here. So somebody said she got 800 donors on her Tinder though if you're not giving that seat up. So I
Who?
mean I don't know
Who
people.
got what?
Somebody said she got 800 donors on on her Tinder though if you're not giving that seat up. So they gonna get that seat
Yeah,
regardless.
but their power, their seed power is shit, so it don't matter.
Right.
You know,
So
she has to use 800 to get
one of
a
you,
quarter of my shit. Not
100%.
even a quarter,
Yeah.
yeah, a quarter of my shit. I
Right.
mean,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, like whatever. It's like, go ahead, you know what I mean? Go
Yeah.
try to put a bunch of pieces together to make a pie. Whatever, bitch, your
Mhm.
shit's still gonna be weak.
Yeah, I've only been doing this. Yeah, I've only been doing this. I only been conscious of it since, uh, yeah, like I said, December 16th. But how long have you been holding the seed now?
Man, I stopped counting days, but it's been over a year.
Okay, yeah, and before,
Yeah.
like I'm sure, like even before that, it was like another year before that, and like you just some
Yeah, it's,
solicitation.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, the only time I was really spilling the seed was when I was married from like 19 to 21. Other than that, I really wasn't spilling the seed. I'm 28 now, so I had like 3 years of kind of just losing it. And then it really just gave me the perspective of like, I never want to do that again. Like it's not, it's not something I
Yeah.
need to repeat.
So you already went through the marriage stage. You got in and out that whole show early. What are your thoughts on marriage and monogamy?
Um, as far as literal actual monogamy and like really if we're talking about real monogamy like in the animal kingdom or animated kingdom like African gray, if you're a fucking African gray,
Hmm.
you mate with one, you find another African gray and mate with that one, and you don't touch another bird until you die. Like that is monogamy. That's kind of like in any religion, I guess, that is you wait till you're married to have sex with the person, and then if you're just with that one person, that's the one person you with and die. But if you've had more than one partner, you're already a polygamist. Already. Like if you have more than one sexual partner, you're already polyamorous, polygamous. So
Hmm.
everything's temporary in a sense. I mean, everything's immortal, but it's also temporary. So I look at it more like monogamy is it's really it got a lot. I don't know what definition we're gonna look at, like the societal definition of like two people under a literal contract or an emotional contract, or like
Yeah.
what are we saying as far what was monogamy? Two people that have like
Monogamy is yeah,
sexual ownership over one other person.
yeah. Just one partner. Marriage in American sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I for me, I think that somebody is gonna be a fucking African gray and be monogamous, and somebody's gonna be a different type of being and be polygamous and polyamorous. Like everything will always manifest, and people will experience different things, especially at different periods of their life. Maybe too, people
Hmm.
might have monogamous periods, and then they have polygamous periods. But I can't say it's a cure all for everybody because some people are really like split souls, so that they are the two of them together makes the one. So it just I can't say that that's wrong. It's just them reuniting outwardly, and then they come together, through either a kid or just living their lives together because they're just a split, so they're a fragment of one soul. So that is the case for some people, but I can't really be concerned with fragments and what people other fragments are doing. So but for me, I feel like I can't get in the casket and die for you. I can't walk your path for you. You can't do that for me. So ultimately, I'm always going to be single. And solitude or being single that's oneness. We call it oneness, peace. Not being in peace as if
Yeah.
we're really in a state,
Oh.
if we're in a state of oneness, it's a state of solitude. Like whether you're with people or not with or around people or not
Right.
around people, it's all you're in a state of being single from womb to tomb. So
Yo, check this out. We got 19 seconds left. I think it's already been an hour, but definitely follow T Bud on Instagram, and he be posting short time, 10 seconds. We can definitely start another one of these tonight or tomorrow, whenever you're free. We'll get it going because I think it was an overall good outlet. But have a night, bro. Appreciate you.